Hey, it's Alex from Android Central, and this is the HTC Desire 816, a phone HTC is describing as its mid-range flagship. It's a 5.5-inch phone with a 720p screen running HTC's Sense 6 UI. Physically, it's kind of a mix of various HTC designs. You've got front-facing speakers and on-screen keys like the HTC One M8, but a plastic chassis that's lighter and presumably cheaper and easy to manufacture as well. The plastic body is actually split into two sections. The speakers and the outer trim are matte plastic, whereas the back panel has a glossy finish. You've got micro USB down below, headphone jack up top, and on the right side behind this plastic flap, you've got nano SIM and micro SD ports. And you can see the space where the second SIM would be. On this single SIM version, that's blocked out. Not exactly a one-handed phone, but it's easier to grip than the M8 despite the fact that it's very large. And it looks nice, it's plastic, but HTC's done a good job with the design, even though the back does tend to attract fingerprints. In terms of specs, we've got a Snapdragon 400 quad-core CPU at 1.6 GHz running the Desire 816, 1.5 gigs of RAM and 8 gigs of storage, which unfortunately doesn't leave a whole lot of space for your own stuff. Even after updating the built-in apps from Google Play, this will be enough to push you over the halfway mark. If you get expandable storage, you can move some apps to the SD card, but not all apps are supported. Performance on the whole is good. The super fast touch response from the M8 seems to have been recreated on the 816's lower end hardware, and animations are generally smooth as well. That said, the slower chip and the cramped internal storage is obviously going to limit your high-end gaming potential. On the software side, you've got HTC Sense 6 on our European Desire 816. There's also a Chinese version which shipped with Sense 5 and will be getting updated. The core of the Sense experience is alive and well here. You've got the Blink Feed launcher which brings in social, news and app updates, and various colour themes that we've seen on the M8 as well. You also get the full-featured HTC Gallery app, including video highlights, which spins your photos and videos into quick highlight reels, and the Zoe Placeholder app, so when this online photo sharing service launches, you'll be able to access that as well. Some of the fancier features from HTC's flagship like Motion Launch and Sense TV aren't included though, and actually the lack of Motion Launch could be a problem if you're trying to use this thing one-handed, because the power button isn't in the easiest position to reach. The Desire 816 also has a more basic camera setup. You've got a 13 megapixel BSI sensor around the back with LED flash, and a 5 megapixel front facer. Rear camera performance seems decent, especially considering this is a mid-range phone, and the crazy thing is you'll actually capture more detail in daylight on the 816 than the HTC One, which is limited to 4 megapixels in HTC's ultra-pixel setup. The trade-off though is that you don't get as many shooting modes in the 816. Zoe mode is missing, as is Panorama 360, and capture speeds aren't quite as instantaneous as they are on the M8. So that's going to wrap up our first look at the HTC Desire 816. It looks like a solid mid-range phone that benefits from some of the M8's high-end features. It's let down somewhat by its tiny internal storage, which is a limitation you'll have to work around with an SD card if you pick one of these up. But really, this phone is all about having a bigger screen size at a lower price, and HTC's delivered that along with solid software and a design that's not as premium as the metal HTC One, but still looks and feels great.